Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel for another Marvel Rivals video. I am just having so much fun making this content, and this is a great video that I've got here for you. I put together a really cool little tier list for a nice visual for you to help you guys out in deciding who you want to play based on hero carry potential. This is a very, very hot topic in this game, and really any game like this. Who can you carry with, and what would be the best of those options, right? If you are a first-time viewer here, thank you so much for checking me out today, and if you like what you see here, I would love it if you'd hit that subscribe, and for those of you that are already subscribed and returning viewers, I appreciate you guys so much. Let's hop into this video. All right, here's the list. This is the God tier carry potential consideration list, okay? This is just my opinion on the matter. You can argue maybe that you could be a carry with any hero, but I don't know that I would necessarily agree with that, but it could be said, right? I have things separated here, Strategists, Duelists, and Vanguards. What we're going to do is separate the ones that could be a carry, and then we're going to decide which one is the best, and then we're going to put them up in the God tier carry potential. We will start with the Strategist, I think, just because this is going to be an easy one to discuss. I don't really think that you can carry too much with many of the Strategists. You can, and I've seen it happen, you can carry with Adam. The thing with Adam, though, is you need to have two other healers. You're not really looking at him as a carry because you're doing so much healing that you're making it so your team can't die. It's more that he has a lot of damage potential, and he can get a lot of really good picks on the back line as a result, plus being able to bring everybody back. It is very powerful, but you need two other healers if you're going to do that. You need to think of him as a DPS and not as a strategist in that time. Rocket, I don't think so. Look, I've seen the zero healing Rocket. I still don't know if I would say that that's a carry. It's very good. It's very interesting. It's funny. And it certainly is effective. Rocket does a lot of damage up close. He truly does. I can melt people sometimes, like especially if they get stunned or you know, get frozen or something like that. You can do a lot of damage to someone while they can't move. But I don't think that I would be able to put him in a potential carry as a strategist. Same with Invis, same with Cloak. Jeff can definitely be a strategist carry, but in the same way that we think about Adam, it would have to be a DPS primary role. You would need to have two other dedicated healers in order to be able to pull that off. But he can be very annoying to the back line. He can do a lot of damage, especially with a Luna team up. And his ult has maybe the best CC in the game, if it lands, right? You can miss, and then it's a wasted ult, I guess, but you can miss any ult. So I think that he could definitely be a strategist carry. Luna, I don't think so. I have seen like the DPS Luna. I have seen this done, like flanking DPS Luna. It's powerful, it's niche. I don't think that it's going to work all the time. I don't think that it's necessarily a strategist carry potential. Loki, yes, for sure. Loki does a lot of damage. He's good with his AoE healing plus the AoE damage. He's got great skill set, the ability to copy other ults. He could copy Duelist ults if he wanted to, or honestly, he copies the entire kit, so you get everything from it, so you can do whatever you need in that moment in time. He can certainly carry. I've seen it. I've seen many videos of Loki just going off. I would say the same thing here about Mantis, actually. I've seen some really crazy videos of Mantis recently, just absolutely popping off. She does a lot of damage. The sleep capability is incredible, but not to repeat myself, you got to think of her as a DPS in this way. It's going to be the same as Adam or Jeff. There needs to be two other healers on the team in order to pull this off, because you need to play her and think of her in this case as a duelist and not as a strategist. For the duelist roles, I would say, I know this is controversial, but I would say that you can carry as Moon Knight, but you need to be a little opportunistic. I've been having some conversations with people about Moon Knight and Moon Knight's damage capabilities and what he can do, and how there's a difference between like purposeful damage or like junk damage, junk stats, I guess you could say. But the thing with Moon Knight is, like, sure, you could be feeding strategist ults, you could be feeding Vanguard ults, but anybody could be feeding those ults at any point in time. By shooting a tank that's constantly getting healed, doesn't matter what character you are, you're now feeding those ults. The thing with Moon Knight is the same as everybody else. If you are opportunistic in your timing of things and in your targets, specifically in your targets, then those stats become far more relevant, and they become far more, you know, I guess good, valid, maybe far more valid. If you're using Moon Knight to flank and you're actually hitting the back line, that's more purposeful and that's more optimized damage that's being dealt right then. So I think that's better than like saying his damage is just kind of like a junk stat because he's just hitting so many people all the time, but he's not getting any kills, right? The thought of you want high kills, low damage, so you're not feeding ults. Like, yes, I hear that to a degree, but damage is pressure. Damage is presence. You do need to be hurting the other team. Ults are going to happen. You know, people are going to get their ults. There's nothing you can do to stop that. So I think that he can certainly carry if you are purposeful and optimize in the way that you play him, and then you use him as kind of like a flanking dive. He can really disrupt things for the enemy team. Black Panther, I mean, you could say so. Like, and I want to be careful about just like labeling dive characters as, you know, carry, because it's situational, I think, and it doesn't always work super well. And if you have, it's just so easy to put anti-dive characters on your team to deal with divers. So I just don't know that I would be willing to put a true dive character on a hard carry, even though, sure, they could. I think that Hawkeye could be a duelist carry. There's certainly that potential. I've seen it happen. It's not that frequent. I had one game with like a really crazy good Hawkeye on the other team, and we lost. It was just a really difficult game. He was super accurate and had really great positioning. It was just difficult to deal with. So sure, you could argue that he could be a carry, like an actual carry in the sense of the word. More so than Black Widow, I would say he's a little better, I think. I don't know. The team up between the two of them apparently is like really epic. I don't know. I've not seen it happen, but I guess it's really good. I'll put him up here, but I will leave Black Widow down here. Hela could certainly be a duelist carry. She does a lot of damage. I was actually playing with her the other day, and I spent some time on her. I find it a little boring myself personally to play as her because you're really just kind of hanging out, trying to go unnoticed basically, which is fine. But she could deal a lot of damage, and I was getting some really good picks and even just creating a lot of pressure for the tanks, making them feel like they needed to back up. So I think you can definitely carry with her. I think that's certainly an option. Scarlet Witch, I don't think I could label her as a potential carry. I've seen some pop off, like truthfully I have, but I don't know that I would say, like, if you're looking at, we can say she could potentially do it, but her kit doesn't necessarily speak to that, so I'm not going to put her up there. Star-Lord, yes. Star-Lord can carry, for sure. His kit's just super powerful. His ult is incredible. Wolverine, yes. Great diver, great anti-diver, great at dealing with tanks. I played a game a couple weeks ago with a Wolverine on my team, and I was playing as Jeff, so I was just, like, diving with him and healing him, and, man, we just ran it. It was awesome. That was such a fun game. Magic could certainly carry as well. She has a very strong kit. She's got great maneuverability. She has great mobility skills, and she deals a lot of damage. I've seen some Magics really pop off, and sure, that could definitely be a carry. Like I said, we're going to leave Black Widow down here. I would put Winter Soldier up here too. He has an amazing kit. Deals a lot of damage, and he has the ability to really just like do a full team wipe if you're really accurate with him and aggressive. He can be very good. Punisher can certainly be a hard carry. I don't think Squirrel Girl could. She's so situational. Like, so on some maps she does well, but on some she just doesn't, you know? I don't know. I don't think that I would really label her as a potential carry. Not that it can't happen, right? Not that it can't happen, but if you're thinking of someone to learn to play because they just have a very high carry potential, that's kind of like what I'm trying to figure out here. Punisher certainly can. Certainly can. He does a lot of damage. If you've got a rocket paired with him, he can just really, really do super well. Mr. Fantastic, 100%. I've been playing with him a lot lately, like a lot, and I find myself carrying quite a bit with him. So I think that that's a definite yes. Spider-Man can be a carry. He can be. I've seen it happen. We all know how good some of those people are out there with this character, and he can certainly be a carry. I mean, Human Torch, yes. No arguments there. I would say the same thing for Iron Fist. Iron Fist is super powerful, very, very annoying. Psylocke can be a carry. I've seen it happen. There are some people out there that are just absolutely epic with her, and it's impossible to deal with. They're so sneaky. They're so accurate. They're always getting behind you. It just totally disrupts the entire game that you're trying to play. She can be very, very effective. Iron Man, I would put up here as well, and I'd put Storm too. I don't know that I would say that Namor can be a carry. He's very good. He is very, very good, very powerful, has a very strong use case, really all the time. But you're not really going to see that like super hard carry potential unless you do have the team up with Hulk. So I don't know. You could argue that he could, but you just kind of don't see it. He's more of like a defensive character and like a objective holding character. He's not super aggressive. Not that I haven't seen people flank with him and play like total like flank DPS with him. It's certainly doable. You get behind the enemy team, you pop your squids up, you throw the harpoons out, and you can get some picks on strategists. It's very effective. But he's easily caught and he's easily dealt with at the same time. So I don't think I would put him up there. For the Vanguards, Emma can certainly be a carry. If you play Emma in the way that I feel like her kit is kind of designed to be, which would be anti-dive and even dive a little bit herself, when I play as Emma, I am actively working to keep divers off of my strategists, and then I'm also working on getting past the tanks on their team to get to their healers. Because the grab kick combo, you can nuke a strategist, and that can be extremely powerful. And when you use her in that way, she can certainly become a hard carry. I use her shields all the time to separate tanks and strategists so that the healing gets cut off for a brief moment in time. She can sway fights like to a crazy degree, and you can put up really big numbers with her. Captain America, yeah, could be. I don't think I would put him up there though. Penny, I don't think so. Groot, yes, Groot can be a hard carry. That's why he gets banned so much. He's so good right now. He is just very strong. I would not feel comfortable leaving him out of a potential carry as a Vanguard. He does a lot of damage, has great crowd control. The walls are super annoying. He's a great tank right now. He's a phenomenal tank. I would say, honestly, with Thing, you could say that he could be a carry too. You could be very aggressive with him. You can dive with him. You can do all kinds of like movement skill cancellation and just movement in general. You can lessen that for the enemy team. He can be very, very effective. And I've seen some big numbers come up from some really good Thing players. I don't think so with Strange. He's good at objective control, objective holding. The portal is certainly not to be overlooked. But as far as like carrying, I wouldn't necessarily put him in that position or give him, that title. Thor, yes. Venom, yes. Mag, Hulk, I don't think so. Great tanks, phenomenal tanks. They have a role, and they play that role super well. I don't know that I would say you could carry with them. You can help your team. You can help somebody else carry, especially with these two because they give the shields. You can help somebody else that's performing super well perform even better by making them invincible for that brief moment in time. So I would say that they can help out a carry. I don't think that they could be a carry though, personally. Okay, so I feel pretty good about this. I think that this list is pretty solid. We have some left out, not too many though. I mean, a lot of the duelists I do think fit that role, and that would make sense. They're supposed to be dealing damage. They should have a high carry potential. For strategists, they should have a low carry potential in theory. And then the tank should have like a middle ground high, somewhere between low and high for their carry potential. But which ones have God tier carry potential? We'll go in the same order. Okay, we'll start with the strategists. For God tier carry potential, I don't know. This is tough. I think that Jeff does, if you're considering the situation in more than just like really requiring other healers, or even if you do want to consider that. So if we have to pick one from these three, maybe let's do that. We got to pick one from these three because they only have carry potential if certain other like team situations are met, which would be having two other healers on board, because that's the only way that you could look at one of these as a carry, I would say, because you can't play Adam Mantis and those are your two healers. Like it's not going to work. So I think that we can only pick one of them. I would say that Jeff would be the potential God tier carry out of those three. I think that Loki has the potential as well, but his kit works totally differently, and he can be just one of the two healers and it will work just fine. And he can still carry a team for sure. The reason I picked Jeff is just because he has the highest mobility out of any of the strategists. He has great DPS potential. He has a very small hitbox when he swims, and his ult, like honestly, think what you want about it, but being able to just simply remove potentially the entire team from an objective is just extremely powerful. And he works so well on so many maps. He's got so many avenues to get people off the map. So I would say that the potential is definitely there, but you need 2 healers on the team aside from him. He needs to be not considered as a healer at all. He needs to be considered a duelist, basically. For the duelist carry, god tier duelist carry. I'm not trying to limit this either. Like, I think a lot of them do really have like super high potential to carry. The first one, honestly, just to note, let's just do this here. These 3 flyers right now, even though Torch is the better one out of the 3, issue with flyers right now is we're kind of in this like weird little like bit of time in this game where flyers have become super powerful, but nobody's learned how to deal with them. So they are all just very strong because more often than not, they just go unchecked. They spend the whole game just doing whatever they want. So I think that all 3 of them have an equally high carry potential. I will say Torch is better. You know, if we need to say which one's better, since we're adding all 3, I would say the order would go in this way. It would go Torch, Iron Man, and Storm. Star-Lord's got to go up there as well. Truthfully, I would say Wolverine has incredibly strong carry potential. I would say the same thing about Mr. Fantastic. Spidey can do it, yes, 100%. We're starting to see him get countered a little bit more. He is a little bit squishy. He is best if partnered with Venom, so now you're considering a team up to really make sure he has the highest potential possible. I just don't think I can put him in god tier carry potential. I would put Iron Fist up there. And I would put Psylocke as well. That's pretty solid for the duelists. I mean, all of these duelists are good. I don't want to say that these aren't god tier. You know, in the right hands, anyone is god tier. So but I think that this is a really strong list to hold here for this. For Vanguards, I would say Emma can go up there. I think Groot can go up there too, and probably just Venom. I feel pretty good about this list. I'm just doing this on the fly too. I didn't even think about this before I had the idea to like talk about carry potential. And I just thought, well, we'll just wing it and see what happens. But I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. I think this is pretty accurate for right now. And again, like I said, anybody can be a carry. Anybody can. But if you want to think about like the percentage chance of that happening, or you want to consider all situations, I think it's pretty safe to say that these would be the ones that would have the highest potential for you to be carrying for your team. They offer a lot of versatility in their kits. None of them are one trick, you know. They're all super good. Yeah, well-rounded kit. We've got a good amount of like movement capabilities here with these fighters. We've got high DPS. We've got good survivability. We've got some CC. We've got some crowd control. Right. I mean, these are great. These are great picks for this. So if you are struggling, I would say especially in the lower ranks, like, you know, we're talking bronze, silver, gold, platinum, even in there, I would say if you are struggling a little bit with ranking up and you do want to try to kind of take things into your own hands, I would say pick from this list. Take a few from this list, like learn maybe like one of each role, right? You could learn Jeff or Loki, learn one of the duelists, and then learn one of the tanks. I would say maybe learn Emma. She's extremely powerful right now. And it's not too hard to like learn and get comfortable with her kit. The way that you play her, it certainly is going to evolve with time. I would say that there's a decently high skill ceiling for her, not because it's hard to learn her, but it's positioning. Her positioning is super important. So it just takes time to get comfortable and be able to acknowledge what's happening in a fight, and then where you need to be and where you should not be. But I would say pick one from each of the roles here from the god tier carry potential list, and I think it will help you guys out. But let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if you do pick one of these and spend some time, I would love to hear how the experience goes for you, and if you do see more wins coming your way as a result of learning some of these characters. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another video. If you have not subscribed yet, please take a second to do so. If you think you subscribed, just double check for me, because I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video.